Hey guys, Swerving here. This video is going to be about why homing launchers essentially broke combat in GTA Online. Before we get into the video, like and subscribe, it would mean a lot. Alright, so let's get into it. So, first we need to talk about all the, original weapons, like the OGs. So you had the RPG, pretty standard, still in the game. It's not really relevant anymore because it sucks compared to the homing launcher, but we'll get into that. You have the minigun, which is still really good in free aim. You have the buzzard, which is the helicopter nobody really uses anymore. And then you have the rhino, which is the original tank that no one uses anymore. And then you have the laser, which is the jet you can get from the military base. Now, these are important because they set the groundwork for combat in GTA Online. The RPG, the original best explosive. If you need to, hit someone behind a wall with an RPG, you can. It used to be the best thing at taking out tanks and vehicles. You also had stuff like sticky bombs, grenades, tear gas. A lot of that stuff just isn't relevant anymore. I mean, yeah, you can throw sticky bombs out of your car, but other than that, they're kind of useless. So the first update that we need to talk about is the Festive Surprise update. That came out in December 2014, and that brought the homing launcher as one of the first explosive, weapon updates. Now this is where combat became unbalanced. So the buzzard was a real threat to people in a rhino, right? If you were in a rhino, it's hard to hit people in a buzzard. And, they countered each other pretty well. You have the RPG to take out buzzards too. All of that stuff was very balanced. It was fun combat, and if someone was in a buzzard or in a rhino, it was possible to take them out. And later into the video, I'll be getting into why combat's unbalanced. So you had the homing launcher, right? And so now with the homing launcher, it was a whole lot easier to take out buzzards. Now, the buzzard was still viable, but it just wasn't as good. But it was still worth the money. Oh, another thing is, the rhino and the buzzard weren't that expensive. The rhino, I believe, was like $3 million, and then the buzzard's it's in between 1 and 2. I'm not sure, but they were cheap. That's not bad. That's definitely affordable. It was harder to get back then. It's way easier now, but it's affordable, which matters. So the homing launcher made the buzzard a lot worse. And so in the heist update, which came out March 2015, we got 3 new helicopters and a new car. We got the Savage, the Hydra. Oh, no, the Hydra's not a helicopter, sorry, 2 new helicopters. So we got the Savage, the Hydra, the Valkyrie, and the Insurgent. The Savage and the Valkyrie were both weaponized helicopters. They didn't really have anything on the buzzard because the buzzard was faster than them. The Savage and the Valkyrie both have more weapons, but they're, they're more expensive and stuff. The Hydra was a new jet. It was really convenient because with the old jet, you'd have to go into the military base and you have to steal it. And while you're doing that, you're going to have, 4 stars, and then you have to call Lester, and it's a pain in the ass. With the Hydra, you could just call it. It's a Pegasus vehicle, so that was convenient for people. A lot of high-level players had that. And if you had the Hydra at the time, you kind of dominated combat. And then you have the Insurgent and the Insurgent pickup. The Insurgent pickup has a machine gun on the top. It countered the Kuruma. It was like the opposite of the Kuruma, right? The armored Kuruma, it's a cheap vehicle that came with the Fleece heist. It's a 4-door, it's an armored car. It's a great all-around car. It's fast too. But you could blow it up with explosives easily. But people couldn't shoot you with bullets. But with the Insurgent, it's like the opposite. People can shoot you with bullets, but can't really blow you up. Well, you can, but it would take a few hits. And so that altered combat a lot. Then in Import-Export, the only real important combat vehicle that came out was the Ruiner 2000. Now, it wasn't a big combat vehicle, but you could definitely use it for combat because it has those missiles. But yeah. Now, gun running was the major military update, and this is the main update that I think that ruined combat in GTA 5. So you have the Oppressor, the best thing to get around the map with. It's also a pain in the ass to deal with. It's really hard to fight, especially if you're in free aim, because I get in aim assisted you can just lock on to people, but in free aim you can't do that, so you got a bike flying around shooting missiles everywhere. It's not really fair. You have the Mobile Operations Center, which has those cannons in it. That was ridiculous, but not a lot of players still use that. And then in Smuggler's Run, you have all the planes. You have the Mogul, the RM-10, the LF-22, the Road, the Molotov, the Tula, the Nakota, the Pyro, the Laser, and the Avenger. Now, the Laser is the jet from before, so, you know, they just made it viable. It's 6.5 million. Not many players have it because you can just get the Hydra or one of these other planes. Now, these planes came with the Smuggler's Run update, obviously, which came with a hangar, and so all of these are not Pegasus vehicles. You can just go to your hangar and get them, which really takes out some of the value of, like, other things, other Pegasus vehicles, like the Insurgent, because, you know, you could own some of these planes, and you could just go get them, whereas with Pegasus vehicles, you have to call them, and then you have to drive to the location. Moving on, then we have the Vigilante and the Hunter. The Vigilante is a good car for combat, but it's more of a just like a, you know, haha, I have this, you don't. More of a show car. And then the Hunter's a helicopter. It's okay. It's not great. It's kind of on the same level as the Savage and the Valkyrie. Then in the Doomsday Heist, which is the last update, we got the Akula, which is a stealth helicopter, probably one of the best helicopters. We got the Volatile, which is a bomber plane. We got the new tank, and I'm not going to try and say the name because I don't want to screw it up, but it's basically a much better version of the Rhino for nearly the same price. And then we got the Deluxo, and I have many problems with the Deluxo. I will probably be making a video on why I hate the Deluxo, because the Deluxo sucks. But yeah, alright. So now we're going to get into why each one of these things kind of broke combat. Now, I know in the title and the thumbnail it's going to say that I hate the homing launcher. And the reason that I hate the homing launcher is because the homing launcher led to all of these things. Because then the homing launcher got imbalanced, so now you have to add a ground vehicle that can withstand explosives. So you got the Insurgent. But then the Insurgent's overpowered, so you have to add something that can counter the Insurgent. You know? Like, it leads on to each other. And if you never added the homing launcher, you would never have to worry about any of these other unbalanced things. We should not have a Deluxo in the game. The Deluxo is ridiculous, it's not realistic, and it kind of ruins combat. So the Savage didn't really ruin combat. It's not really used. It's kind of irrelevant. It costs too much. Same with the Hydra at this point. A lot of people still have the Hydra because at the time when it came out, it was a really, really good vehicle, but now it sucks. The Laser's better. So for those people who can afford a Hydra now, they can probably afford a Laser too. So those people are just going to get a Laser. You have the Valkyrie, which isn't really, you know, relevant. And then you have the Insurgent, which is surprisingly still used a lot. It's one of the best land vehicles. It can take a lot of hits, so, you know, why not? The Ruiner 2000, nobody uses. It costs too much, and nobody's going to buy it past when it came out in the update. The Oppressor's probably the most used vehicle in the game right now. At least I think. You know, there's always one person in a lobby just cruising around in an Oppressor, which is not bad. I like the Oppressor. I don't have one because I'm not going to spend my money on that. But, you know, it didn't ruin combat in aim-assisted lobbies, but it ruined combat in free aim lobbies. I was on a hill chilling, right? And this guy on an Oppressor just comes up and shoots me with the missiles, right? And I couldn't do anything to stop it, and I think that's bad. Like, you can lock onto it with a homing missile, but with the Oppressor, it's really easy to dodge missiles, and so that's definitely a problem. The MOC didn't really change combat. It's kind of fun to mess around with, but it costs a lot to get all the renovations, so it's not really worth it in terms of fighting people. All the planes in Smuggler's Run really aren't overpowered. Some of them are underpowered. The only one on here, well, there's two on here that actually are used in combat. It's the Avenger and the Laser. But the Laser costs $6 million and not a lot of players have it. And then the Avenger, it just kind of gets bodied by other combat vehicles. The Vigilante, it's pretty well balanced. I mean, you don't see a lot of people using it in combat. The Hunter, I never see Hunters. They're kind of useless. The Akula, the stealth helicopter, not really used in combat. I mean, it's usually used in missions and stuff. The Volatile, you don't see much. The new tank, you really don't see that much because it's expensive. And, you know, with the Deluxo, well, I'll get into the Deluxo later. But, the new tank, it's, okay, so it's like twice as good as the Rhino for about the same price. But it's not, it can't fly, it doesn't get around the map fast. It's got a railgun, which is really cool. It's kind of a, like, futuristic tank, so it's cool. But, I mean, it's not really that usable in today's GTA Online, where you have repressors flying around, Deluxos flying around, you know. So the Deluxo, let's get into that. I have a lot of things I don't like about the Deluxo, and that was the first thing I hate about GTA Online in my previous video. The Deluxo is a car that flies around, and it has missiles. It's fast, it's hard to hit with missiles, and it spins really quickly so it can avoid missiles. It made the Buzzard pretty much irrelevant. It made all the other helicopters irrelevant, and it borders making the Oppressor irrelevant. It is the best vehicle in combat. It's one of the best all-around vehicles, and it's ridiculous. It's just so good, and it's not even that expensive. It's like $4 million. I don't really get how a jet is like not that good compared to a Deluxo, and yet it's $2 million more. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody's gonna buy the jet if they can get a Deluxo, right? And plus the jet, it doesn't look great customized, but the Deluxo looks great customized. There's so many paint jobs you can put on the Deluxo and stuff. So yeah, this is why I think the homing launcher ruined GTA 5's combat. Not because the homing launcher is overpowered, but because of all the balance changes that had to come after, the balance changes being the updates. Because, you know, every single one of these updates added a vehicle that was a lot better than the previous combat vehicles before, therefore, making it overpowered. And, players in general just got more and more overpowered. And it's not really fun. Like, if I'm on the ground, I can't stop with Deluxo. And that just doesn't sit right with me. I'm not saying you should add something for, you know, solo players, to, like, be able to stop with Deluxo and stuff. I just don't think there should be any more, military vehicles added for now. Like, we don't need anything better than the Deluxo, because Deluxo is amazing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, like and subscribe.